I'd worked with Greg Berlanti on his Emmy-nominated television program, Political Animals. Congrats to Greg. And we were on location in Philadelphia. And we had just shot the pilot, and we were flying back, and it had been maybe a month of 12-hour days, and I was trying to sleep, and, Greg, nudged me and wanted to know if I wanted to start talking development, and I was like, are you crazy? But that's, that's what makes Greg Greg, and he said, have you seen the Tomorrow People? And I guess it's a show that he had seen when he was a kid, and I got all the DVDs and watched him the next time I was headed back to Philadelphia, and we just started talking about it when we were on set. Obviously a much different show, but in our downtime we would talk about what a cool way of sort of redoing the show would be, and it brick by brick, all of a sudden you've built something.
Okay, what was sort of the appeal for you of coming?
Yeah, no, Warner Brothers actually brought it up. They were like, are you aware of I think it was a TV show called The Tomorrow People? And I was like, yeah, 1975, based on a David Bowie song. Yeah, there were this many advertising. I'd watched it with my sister. I was amazed when I went back and watched it, because in my head it was this much more accomplished, but when you're a kid, it's not the production value you look at. When you're a kid, I think you look at how you relate to it, and it was about kids from a normal neighborhood that I recognized, and the accents that I recognized in London, and how they were alienated and feeling different, and a little bit invisible and left in the shadows, and how that they are told that they're actually special. And that David Bowie song, about all you pretty things, how the original writer,
Roger Price,
saw a shift in the mid-70s of people changing, after the 60s, and how the youth were, feeling empowered, and and how not cutting your hair and going into the army and doing what mum and dad says, that nuclear family thing had gone, and how everybody was experimenting and moving forward, and there was a freedom, and I guess I related to that.
Yeah, I think kids deserve that now. I think every generation deserves to be defiant, or at least feel defiant, feel like you're sort of redefining yourselves, and as a metaphor, being a new species, I think is really cool. I'm sure my kids don't think that they're the same species that I am.
What episode is this really excited about? You can't wait till the fans get to episode of this, or if you can tell us more about the exciting thing, that's great. But
well, I'll give you a super boring answer, and then maybe try to come up with a better one. But usually the first episode after the pilot is a disappointment, because you got half the time, half the money, you're trying to do all the same things over again, but this is really something special that I think we pulled off, and Danny's pulled off, in that I think you can watch pilot and the one to follow back to back, and you don't feel that stepping off of a cliff. In fact, to me it becomes more complex, and I don't know. I hope that I have that feeling after every episode, that it just got a little better.
Yeah, no. For me, it's it could be a two-parter. I don't think anybody. It goes right. One goes into two, goes into three, and I'm doing all of that because I really felt like I wanted to accomplish a few more things I couldn't do in the pilot. So there's no special thing. I think it just gradually builds up speed, and
right.
I think it just gets better.
Because when you think about the shows you love and the things that really affect you, those are only possible after you've really gotten to know these people deeply. One of the things we've done in the episodes is included backstories of learning how, if pilot is about how Stephen breaks out, we find out how Cara and how John, and learn about who these people were when they were human beings. And to me, that's fascinating. I think fans are going to love it.
As it is a new show, like, what would you say to people to entice them to watch?
You know what I like about? I mean, we all like superhero films right now. You know, are big, and that's cool. And the X-Men franchise was awesome, is awesome. I just think this is a more grounded way to do that. You know, rather than like costumes and acrobatics and explosions and things like that. I think this is much more like, what if there was something in a DNA that would change somebody? What if it could be, the show could be any kid on any block, in any street, in any country. And I think I think it's a super easy show to relate to in that way. And I really like the feet on the ground approach of the show.
Yeah.
How much of the first season have you got planned out?
Well, I mean, we've got a pretty good roadmap up until 13, and then and then a thumbnail for the rest of the 9, and then we certainly know where we'd like to leave things for season 2. I'm not going to get greedy, but
I really was super impressed with the way that very quickly the guys mapped out an emotional journey for the show. It wasn't a plot. So many procedural shows right now. I've done a few of those. That really kind of all follow a rhythm and follow a pattern. And what's nice about this is the whole season is about the origins of these characters, how they got to be there, what they're finding out new about each other. So I think that emotional journey that they mapped out was about the characters, not about plots, not about how much we could stuff into one episode plot-wise. It was much more about, if this really happened to people, how would they cope?
Because it was a big reveal for him. No idea.
Robbie.
It was a coincidence, I assume.
Total coincidence.
Well, we heard his name early on, and then we probably saw 100 other people, and then came back to the guy whose name we heard, yeah.
A lot of people read, and it's the thing about all these shows is you think that you're going to do something special by inviting the right people. The truth is, undeniably, every time I've done casting, they know that part's theirs. They walk in, it's theirs, and the universe takes over.
Yeah.
And there he is.